welcome to the Craft Shack. My name is Melinda and I am the owner of Beyond Tumblers and Mystique Glitter. Today I am going to be stepping out of my comfort zone by doing a pin wrap. Now, I've never done a pin wrap before, or any kind of wrap for that matter. So I'm gonna invite you in to watch me learn how to do this. I'm also going to be showing you two methods of applying the glitter to your pen. We will do the traditional method, and the way we do that is just the epoxy method, where you put the thin coat of epoxy on and sprinkle on that glitter. And then the other one I'll be showing you. So you gotta watch in order to find out what that second method is. Now, the supplies you'll need are going to be 2 ink joy pens and flat white Rust-Oleum paint, spray paint, your Alumilite epoxy, or whatever epoxy you use. I use Alumilite, and you'll be doing part A and part B equal amounts. Sandpaper and the water slide. And your water slide needs to be translucent, because we're going to actually use white glitter. And the glitter we're using will be the glitter Crystal from my shop, and that's at MystiqueGlitter.com. I can't spit it all out today. I don't know why. Anyways, you can find that in my shop. It's called Crystal, and it's a iridescent white, and it's got a beautiful sparkle to it. So it'll shine through and sparkle through that translucent water slide beautifully. So, but before we get started, I want you to go ahead and click that subscribe button and give me those thumbs up. Now, let's go get started and let's unleash that inner sparkle. We're just going to go ahead and start off by disassembling the pins and prepping them. So I'm just going to cut the clip off with my pliers and sand it with my Dremel. Now, you can use sandpaper. I just like using my Dremel for sanding my pins. Once I'm done with that, I'll go ahead, wash them off, and then we'll go ahead and spray paint. Here I'm just mixing equal parts of Alumilite Quick Coat Epoxy. You will know it's completely mixed when it is clear and you don't see any streaks. I've learned that it really depends on how much epoxy you are mixing, and that will determine how long you will mix. The rule is to mix for 3 minutes, but when I am mixing a lot at one time, that 3 minutes just isn't enough. That's why I go by how it looks. Now, you can see here I just separated and set aside some of that epoxy, and in just a moment you will see why I did that. But first, I'm going to spread a very thin coat of epoxy on this pen and then cover it with the glitter. Again, I'm using Crystal Iridescent Extra Fine, and you can find that in my shop at MystiqueGlitter.com. Once I've glittered and tapped off that excess, I'm just going to put it on my turner and let it cure, then move on to my second pen. With the saved epoxy, I'm just going to add some of that extra glitter that dropped onto my wax paper. Now, I've got about 5 mils of epoxy here, so I don't want to add too much. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball it here. If the glitter has changed the consistency of the epoxy, then you've added way too much. You just want enough glitter to be able to see the glitter, but not change the consistency of the epoxy. To apply the glittered epoxy, I'm just dipping my finger in the medicine cup and applying it to the pen. This is not a thick coat. You are still going to use that thin layer of the mix, and you want to make sure it is nice and even. It's 4 hours later and my pens are ready for the next step. Now, to let you know, the measurement of these wraps are 1.5 for the width, and for the height it's 4.75. So while I was waiting for the pens to dry, I did print and prepare my water slide. If you would like a video on how to do that, just leave a comment below and I would be happy to do so. This first one is going to go on my pen with the glitter mix epoxy because the other one isn't ready to have the water slide added to it yet. Remember, because we are using translucent water slide, we do not want to sand these pens. And here is where my challenge begins. As you can see, I'm having a little bit of difficulty keeping this straight while trying to get that backing off. Remember, this is my first time ever doing this wrap, so bear with me. As I'm laying the water slide, I'm making sure to not tear it. I'm also making sure it's laying flat and keeping it straight at the same time. As I'm smoothing it, I'm also making sure that there are no air bubbles by lightly running my fingers over the pen. After getting the backing off, I'm just checking for smoothness and making sure there is no wrinkles and that the seam didn't fold under anywhere. Unfortunately, there was a fold under at the top part here, so I'm just taking my weeding pen and smoothing that out. It's real easy to do. Just be careful not to tear it, and once you get it unfolded, you just lay it nice and flat, put a little water over it, and it smooths right out. Now I'm just going to pat it dry and set it aside and let it continue to dry for at least a couple hours. But I probably won't be back until after our second pen is dry from adding a layer of epoxy on it. And that's what we'll be doing next. Okay, I'm back and I'm just going to put some of the Alumilite Plus with UV protection on here. This is our first pen that we did, and the reason why I do that Alumilite protection is to keep it from getting discolored. After we're done with that, I'm going to take the second pen and wrap it. Now I'm just laying it down here on my table. I'm inching that water slide up so I can kind of anchor it to that pen, and then I'm just going to start rolling it. As I'm rolling it, you'll see I'm just taking my fingers and rubbing up and down. This is going on a lot easier than the first one, and that's the nice thing about doing something like this. You always find an easier way to put something on or do something. So no matter what, practice does make perfect. So in this video we did two methods of adding glitter to the pens, and if I were to choose my favorite, I would have to say I really like adding the glitter to the epoxy, then adding it to the pen, or applying it to the pen. The pen isn't as bulky feeling, and I like that. When I do it with, the other epoxy way, your pen kind of gets bulky feeling. Alright, so once this pen has dried for a couple of hours, I'll go ahead and add the epoxy and then come back and show you a final look-see. I just love how these pen wraps turned out, and I really love how well mixing the glitter in with the epoxy worked out. Doesn't that crystal glitter just give off the most beautiful sparkle under those wraps? I'll have the links to my glitter along with other supplies used in this video in the description below. Also, if you're interested, the link to my Facebook group is listed. Come on over and join the fun, get monthly discount codes, and enter amazing contests. And don't forget to subscribe and like to this video. Also, it would be great if you could leave a comment down below. I hope that y'all have a wonderful and safe rest of your week. Remember to continue to unleash that inner sparkle. Love ya. Bye.